Welcome back to Film Bites. I'm Andy the Dad.
And I'm Jack the Lad.
And on this episode, we're going to be looking at an independent film called
Herd.
This one's quite an unusual one. It's a zombie thriller. It's got LGBTQ plus elements.
Yep, I wouldn't even say elements, it's the core of the movie.
And it's got a bit of social commentary thrown in there as well.
Which reminds me very much of the kind of Living Dead storylines that you would see of the past as well.
What do you think, Jack?
Well, I think that this one, it's not a long movie, it's an hour and 34, I believe. And to be fair, I went into this with no expectations because I've not seen the trailer, I've not seen many of these actors before. I think this is a fresh project, and to be fair, it was a good project. Cinematography was very good in order to show the kind of bleak, catastrophic elements as well. So, for example, aerial shots to show how barren things are. Dutch angles to show that something is quite twisted. Dutch, by the way, meaning that the camera is kind of tilted, so it doesn't look quite right. It can be done so ever so slightly as well to make it feel like a bit of an eeriness to it. And they used it all to its max capacity, in my opinion, to kind of show that there's something not right. And as the title implies, there's a herd. And considering it's classed as a zombie genre, it's a herd of zombies.
Absolutely. I mean, with regards to this one, it's definitely a zombie film that's kind of like a post-COVID response.
It definitely had those elements where it was talking about the government not properly taking the considerations into any kind of measures that were being taken very late on, let's say.
Yeah, It looked at the virus slightly differently, and I think that was quite refreshing to some extent.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
It allowed this to tell a slightly different take on the usual zombie territory that we've had all the way through sort of Walking Dead and prior to that. I think what was nice about this one, it did focus quite heavily on relationships.
Yes.
So you had the initial almost breaking down relationship of the main couple at the start. And then when it kind of told you where it was going, you had some family trauma that clearly one of them's got PTSD from issues with her father earlier on.
And the implications of what could have happened to her mother as well.
And it seems to be a sleepy backwater town that they've managed to find themselves in right at the start of this zombie outbreak. It's clever. It uses a lot of emotion in those sequences.
Oh, yeah.
You know instantly what some of it's going to be, but you don't quite know where it's going to go each time. There was a couple of gory sequences, I thought, in this, which was quite good.
And I've got to say, I think they were used carefully.
Yeah.
Because there was one where I thought this is going to be brutal, but they didn't show it. And they didn't show the aftermath either.
Yeah, it wasn't exploitative in any way.
No, so I feel like they did it for the necessity of things. So, for example, you would see the gunshots for a zombie, you wouldn't see the gunshots for a human.
Yeah, exactly. And you also had that dynamic of the people of the town who are already in factions as a result of the start of societal breakdown. And it really cleverly put together a sort of political agenda in what it was saying. It wasn't out and out critical in such a sense. It was just the fact that if you've got a lack of leadership from the top, this is the kind of breakdown that happens in such a serious scenario. You clearly know where they were going with some of the elements of the story, but I just thought this was quite a refreshing take on a zombie story.
And what's interesting is, considering the movie is called Herd, I don't want to give too much away, but you see a lot of zombies, but you actually don't really see a lot of them at all.
Implied.
Yeah, so it's very much the implication of how humans react. And if anyone's the villain in this, which, going back to all the way of Night of the Living Dead as well, it's the humans.
Yes.
The humans are very much the problem. And it's a question of where did this start from? Usually, let's be honest, it's humans that probably messed about with something and it started, and then they tried to clean up their own mess.
It was nice just to have a real relationship on screen.
Yeah, like it wasn't exploitative in any way. It wasn't trying to make you feel like, oh, this is a gut punch here and there, so and so, let's follow this theme. It was just a story of two characters that are in a very low point in their relationship and how they can build that back up in such a situation that they're already in. If things couldn't get worse, it does. But it's a really clever and lovely dynamic to see how these two characters kind of grow closer together in such a way that is, playing out.
Yeah.
I've also got to point out that the overall idea of the zombies in this, whilst at first I thought, yep, that sounds about right, they implied things that was like, okay, this hasn't been explored yet. Are we going to explore it? And you don't really need to explore it. That's what's quite nice. It's just the fresh perspective of two people and a couple trying to survive, and you don't quite know what's going on.
The zombies, they're clearly infected, but they are not the run-of-the-mill Romero ones, in the sense that there appears to be some kind of sentience to what they're doing.
Yeah.
They seem to be on the march. They've got problems with their head. It's just slightly twisting the genre a little bit. So it doesn't really feel like it's connected to any one of the zombie outbreaks that we've seen previously. This feels like its own virus-based zombie, and I think it was cleverly done. I thought the effects that they used were simple but just right, just understated. It wasn't a gore fest by any stretch of the imagination. There was a couple of really good gory moments.
Oh yeah,
but the actual zombies themselves I really quite liked. There was a patience to them, but they were also had a level of understanding which isn't in all of them. They weren't the World War Z fast zombies.
They're not monsters per se.
They're not there to eat brains as such. They're on the march because they've been infected.
Yeah, it's quite a nice perspective, I think.
I think the only sort of minor criticism I'd have is that it all felt a bit cleaned up and finished too quickly.
Yeah, I think it abruptly did something. I won't go into details of what, but it's quite a big moment of the movie. And it kind of just goes, okay. I guess that's tied up then.
Yeah.
And it's nice, it's a clever ending, but you can't help but feel like that maybe there was something missing.
Yeah, I think it kind of wimped out a little bit on where it could have gone.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I really enjoyed the picture. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was well shot. I thought the music was decent enough. The acting was very good. The dialogue wasn't too bad. I think there were some obviously stereotypical elements of the sort of backwater town that they arrived in. But that was part of the point, that they have these very staid notions of what civilization should be like.
And using someone's background or who they are as a person is classed as a condition.
Yeah. There's a couple of raw notes in here, and you can see that that's where the director or the writer has wanted to really punch through. And I think that works pretty well. It's not a full-on social commentary film by any means, but it certainly does its job in those areas. It
feels like it truly harks back to what the original zombie movies did.
Yes.
Which was social commentary.
Yeah. So this one's heard. It's going to be available digitally on all the services. 23rd of October is when it's released. So from my perspective, I think this is one to watch. I think this is a good bit of entertainment. How about you?
Completely agree. I think this is quite a nice classic, and it goes back to the classic roots of what makes a good zombie movie.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Film Bites Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our discussion about all things film. We love creating content for movie buffs like you, and if you had a good time today, please consider supporting us. We have a little favour. If you liked what you saw and heard, give that like button a gentle tap down there. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode from us. We try and publish at least one episode each week, so stay in the loop for more movie magic and insightful discussion. Also, don't be shy to ring that notification bell. It's like your personal VIP pass to our latest content. Your support genuinely means the world to us. It's what keeps us going and growing as a podcast. So, from the bottom of our movie-loving hearts, thank you. Remember to follow us on social media and feel free to leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments. We love hearing from you. Until next time, Film Biters, keep watching, keep loving, and keep sharing your film passion with the world. Thanks for being part of the Film Bites podcast community. See you in the next episode.